Anne has developed her Calamity Blue power. Apparently Sasha does have the pinkish red strength power. Marcy gets the green gem. We finally get to see her in season 2. Marcy at the gates. By the way, I was not a huge fan of the Curator episode with the quote-unquote Gravity Falls spin-off episode. They had Kristen Shaw from Mabel, and yet they didn't even use her in the Gravity Falls crossover, which was kind of disappointing. Not like how the Curator was really sadistic villain. I did like Wally's father and how he was rich, even though the plot line seemed to come out of nowhere. Yeah, that's kind of what happened on season 2. A lot of things came out of nowhere, like Matt Brawley was making it up as he was going along. You always think of Wally as just a homeless person or a guy that enjoys being poor. I did like Battle of the Band.
The dinner episode was nice to see Sasha interacting with Anne and Marcy since the volcano one. Although she has conflicting feelings, she means well and she helped them against the hornets that were trying to paralyze them with venom. Grime unleashed a deadly cake apparently, but when the chocolaw, as Grime would say, became solid, the bugs were edible, and I guess they ate the chocolate off the floor. I'm not really sure how this works because they didn't really show anything except for Grime eating one of the poison bugs once they were already dead. It still was funny, and Sasha with all of her daggers stashed in her boot. How could you even walk, to quote Grime? I have absolutely no idea.
Sasha is not as bad as people think.
Well, seeing as Sasha's parents split up, when parents split up, it is hard for the child to cope with it. So Sasha took matters into her own hands and start thinking, if I can't control my own life, maybe I can control my friends and it'll give me some power because I feel innocent in this situation. I don't ever think Sasha is a terrible human being. She's misunderstood and some people are not reading between the lines. They're just looking at her superficially.
It was wrong for her to change the lyrics in Anne's song and also manipulate her through her life. I'm not condoning that at all. I do like the Beryl's Warhammer episode where she used her pinkish red glowing powers through her eyes to lift up Beryl's Warhammer and give it to the Toad Army. In fact, I was kind of rooting for Sasha throughout most of season 2. She's basically my favorite girl. The show should be revolved around Sasha more than Anne. No offense, but Anne and the Planners are just boring to me sometimes. Sasha and Marcy bring a nice spice. I hear Matt Brawley based himself off of Marcy, and it kind of shows. I've seen a comparison between Matt Brawley's face and Marcy's face. They look similar, and they both act very similarly. And I think the references to video games,
while little amusing references, they get in the way of the plot and just are distracting.
At Valeriana's place, kind of like, okay, a frog wouldn't even know what Super Mario is, so that takes your attention kind of away from the episode where Valeriana was helping Anne charge the box. It was funny how Anne didn't let the box completely charge because she thought that Marcy, Sketchy Pop, as I call Hot Pop, Polly, and Sprig were all in trouble. Turned out they were just looking at animal videos on Anne's phone while they were waiting for Anne to come down from the ice temple because they were in the snow. I don't care a thing about Bessie or Michelangelo, so I'll just skip that pointless episode. All Anne did was just put on a chest plate. That's it. There was really no plot. They could have just had the second temple. That could have just been a 22-minute episode. We could have just skipped that episode. But I did like the volcano. Sasha did stand up for her friends, defeated the rock golem that was causing the gravity to increase. And by the way, when frogs are dehydrated, Matt Brawley, they don't age. They just look pale skin. That's not how frog skins work. By the way, I think they changed Polly's voice for actress when she was dehydrated. It was funny how she wasn't strong enough to lift the axe when she was thirsty. I didn't quite understand what was going on. They just got sweaty. As for Marcy herself, I like her, but she was kind of taken for a fool by King Andreas. As Crimson Sin would say, she's kind of not being herself, playing like a different role. Sprig was suspicious of Marcy, but luckily he found out that she meant him no harm and wasn't going to betray them. And she still didn't really even betray them at the end. I don't blame her for what she did. I did like the Anne dance thing when she got rid of
the Scorpoleo monster.
When they were out in the woods and they ran out of food. But that never did come back into play, did it? You'll have to inform me in the comments if it led to anything. But it was a fun episode. I already gave you my opinions on Sketchy Pop
and Polly Planter.
So you'll know that I did not like any of their episodes at all. I don't care about wanting to be a Hollywood star. I'm referring to Hot Pop. I don't care about Polly wanting attention. They're just boring subplot episodes that shouldn't even exist. They just take up the runtime. And they could have just been spent on Sasha episodes. I didn't even care about Courier's Past. That episode just could have been called Arguments between Sprig and Polly. It was not enjoyable.
The Scared Air Challenge was an interesting concept on the sleepover to end all sleepovers when Marcy and Sprig and Polly enter the basement to go exploring to keep themselves awake, because according to Marcy and Anne, a sleepover means you stay up all night and don't fall asleep, which isn't very good for your health. They find some corpses in the basement and are chased by some jellyfish creatures. And they find Mr. Mossman from season 1 chained in a dungeon. Apparently, the jellyfish become physical when they are exposed to mirrors. And there is a painting in the dungeon that is ripped to shreds of a pink frog that looks like Sprig and Polly's parents, younger version of the king, I'm guessing Beryl the Brave of the Toad Army. Quite intriguing plot lines.
Well, I think that's it.
Hope you guys enjoyed my Amphibia Season 2 review. I'm Robert from Cartoon Lovers ZXC. You all have a lovely evening.